These are one of my favorite parts about the colder seasons. They are simple to make and they can be such delightful homemade gifts or wonderful cozy little gifts for yourself. Hi, I'm Robin. On this channel, I love sharing about ways we can make positive difference in our world through reducing and reusing. And today I am sharing about cornbag heating packs. You may have seen these before. It's not a new project, but I'd love to share a few thoughts about these today because they are such a wonderful gift idea and they can be made with natural and upcycled materials. Many people make these with rice as the filler, but my favorite filler is using feed corn, which I will talk about in just a moment. The basics for making these is pretty straightforward. You'll take 2 pieces of 100% cotton fabric, right sides together, stitch 3 sides. I like to sew a double stitch because my corn bags tend to do a lot of jostling about. Then you will fill these with feed corn or rice or whatever you're using. I usually just hold the top closed to see how full I would like it. I don't really measure it necessarily. And then you will fold and stitch that top closed. Again, I like to do a double stitch and you've got a heating pack. Then I like to test out any new heating packs in the microwave just at 30-second intervals to get a rough estimate of how long to heat it. And even though all microwaves are obviously different, I think this is still good to do when giving any of these as a gift because then you can give sort of a range of times that it might take to heat these up. Side note, I have read people give pretty strong suggestions to always have a cup of water in the microwave when heating one of these up so that there are not any super hot pockets or even to prevent them from catching fire. So do your own research on this. I will say I have been using these for decades and have never actually done that or had any issues. But especially if you're giving these away or making them for a craft fair, you might want to look into that suggestion. Also, I have read to use 100% cotton for these since they are going in the microwave. Obviously, you don't want any fabrics that have any little metallic bits or sparkly bits or that kind of thing. What makes this even more eco-friendly because you're already making something at home and that's reusable, but you can upcycle fabrics to make these. So for instance, this one is made from old pajama pants and the pants had become just sort of holey and worn out in parts, so they were not donatable, but there was still plenty of fabric that was sturdy enough for one of these. You could also use leftover scrap fabrics. In fact, I think it'd be kind of cute to have different coordinating fabrics on the front and backs of one of these bags. Maybe that's just me. Either way. And then if or when fabric on one of these heating packs just becomes worn out, or maybe it just needs a washing, you can seam rip the top or even just chop off the top of one of these bags, empty the filler into a bowl, wash the fabric, and refill it. So I fill my heating packs with feed corn, not popcorn, and you can get this at any store that sells sort of farm or animal equipment. The sizes this comes in can vary. Where we used to live, I could get a 10-pound bag for like $3, and 10 pounds sounds like a lot, but it actually goes pretty quickly when you're making these. Where we are now, I can only find a 40-pound bag of this. I did purchase one of these one year when I was making a bunch of them, but it might be a good idea to have a plan for your feed corn. So maybe you or a friend actually has chicken or pigs that could enjoy the rest of it if you're not using all of it. You could also consider making a bunch of these as gifts or even hosting a craft party. My mom went to a craft party years ago where they made these heating packs, and I think that's a super fun idea. Just have everyone bring some fabric that they're willing to share, and maybe a few people can bring machines, and then everyone can make a bunch of holiday gifts. The corn looks like this, just sort of flat kernels. The first step when you bring it home is you are going to want to pour batches of this corn into a microwave safe bowl and then heat it for maybe 2 minutes and let it cool and then do your next batch. I do this because if I'm not using the corn right away or I'm not using all of it right away, you could end up with microscopic bugs just because it is a natural food product. So this is a good thing to do when you first get that corn home. I love that you can make these in whatever size you'd like. So I make these teeny tiny ones and I put them in my coat pocket just during the winter when I'm going for a walk. They don't last super long, but they last for the length of my walks, which is perfect. I sometimes make these slightly larger, smallish ones, which fit into my bathrobe pockets. And then I love making a bunch of these just basic rectangular shaped ones, which I bring into bed with me. I love them. You could also make a really long one like this to put around your neck. And if you're making one like this, I definitely recommend sewing little pockets for the corn so it gets distributed evenly. I love that these heating packs are so simple. You can upcycle fabrics and you can customize the fabric and the size. And then the corn or rice, whatever filling you use, could just be reused for a future heating pack or maybe even composted if your time with it is done. Again, use your own judgment for safety in terms of adding that glass of water to the microwave. Obviously, do not leave these in bed with babies and small children. Safety first and all of that. So hopefully this gives you some ideas for making your own if you've never made these. If you enjoyed this, you also might like this video here. Your actions can and will make a difference.